Morning in America, it's our mission to hear your voices and answer your questions. As part of our special series, Answers for America, you'll only see that right here on NewsNation and on Morning in America. We're going to get an expert in to directly answer questions that come from you. And that expert is supply chain strategist Zach Strickland to help bring some answers to folks who are watching at home. First of all, in terms of interest rate hikes, where will we likely see this impact us the most in a real world way?
Yeah, I mean, the interest rate hikes take a long time to manifest. A lot of what we look at is, in the supply chain sector ourselves at Freightwaves, and that's still in this undulation period. We still haven't fully unfurled all of the bottlenecking that has occurred over the last year and a half that occurred from a lot of the, the overstimulated economy, really, that was driven by consumer demand. So the interest rate hikes are there to really manage long-term spending. A lot of these capital expenditures occurred earlier in the year already as businesses were trying to get their hands around what was going to happen next. The demand side forecasts completely fell apart for a lot of the Fortune 500 companies. So their only strategies were simply just to go out and spend a bunch of money trying to figure out where they can plug the holes.
Let's actually go to a question from one of our viewers. Sean Brennan in Florida. He works for a flooring company, and he has a question about the supply chain, which I know you're an expert at. So let's listen.
With so many indicators of an economic slowdown right now, with higher borrowing rates, why are so many industries still facing supply shortages and cost increases? Shouldn't the Federal Reserve's policies that are slowing the economy down be a little bit more impactful by now?
Good question.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I said. These interest rate hikes take a long time to manifest throughout the economy. And a lot of those are those bigger expenditures. And what we've seen over the last year and a half has been driven by consumer demand, which is a very quick sector to grow and also kind of recede. And that's really what we're seeing right now is consumption for all these durable goods as people kind of transition to this work from home environment. They stopped doing that as much. They've gone back to services. Travel is now coming back. And what's left over, though, is this chaotic mess. You've heard about all the containers coming from China into the United States. Well, there's still a bunch of those stacked up around our ports. There's still ships piled up around a lot of the ports, especially the ones on the East Coast now, as a lot of these companies have shifted their focus, trying to get a lot of these goods into the country. And now with the demand erosion showing up, they don't really have anywhere to put them as warehouses fill up. So there's still a lot of unfurling to do in the supply chain. I mean, warehouses being almost at full capacity, they have nowhere to put these goods.
This is a weird time. We have another question from our viewer, Sean, so let's listen.
So I work in the construction industry, and one of the biggest impactful topics that we're facing right now is with raw materials. So do you see they've been so unbelievably volatile over the last year and a half? Do you see some stability coming back into the market, and do you see prices dropping further, in particular with lumber?
What do you think?
So absolutely. Yes, stability will return to the market, I think, as early as later this year, especially in the construction sector. A lot of what we saw in the construction, especially the housing market, is this pull forward. Everybody knew these interest rate hikes were coming. So a lot of these builders went ahead and placed their orders for all these goods, trying to get as much housing inventory in place as they could before they started to see these interest rate increases. And they knew that also the consumers were going to be hit by this and the way that they were going to see the mortgage rates rise as well. So they wanted to get as much inventory out. And I think a lot of that pull forward really helped congest the supply chains for the construction industry. And I do think as early as probably the fourth quarter this year, we'll start to see those kind of stabilize out. In the first part of next year, for sure, it'll be a lot cooler.
A lot of my friends who either purchased a new home, remodeling a home, doing new construction, said it was so hard to just find people to work and actually do the labor in addition to a shortage of supply. Thank you so much, Zach Strickland, for joining us. And Sean, great questions. We appreciate you. You can send us your questions at newsnationnow.com/answersforamerica. We'll answer your questions right here live. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.